Carolyn asked me to do a reading tonight, and I worked up a little essay, and I like working with the essay form because it's short, and also because in French, essay means just to try, so it's just like, okay, just try. So this is a piece called Life Stories. I got married relatively late in life, far enough along to start looking for other things than what had always attracted me to men. While the guys with the pained, faraway looks and the almost ex-wives and girlfriends once were magnets for my affection, different qualities began to compel me, including one that John displayed early on, extreme non-judgment. No one, seriously no one, was all bad in his mind. A sweating man could leap in front of him with crazy Charles Manson eyes and a knife dripping blood, and John would probably advise, well, let's listen to what he has to say. Let's not jump to conclusions. Unlike his over-imaginative and sometimes hysterical wife, he lives by the law of innocent till proven otherwise. And so the wedding gift that my cousin Aaron gave us had special meaning. Inside an antique Indian badminton set, she had slipped a green magnetic peace sign for the car. Not only was it made in Vermont, the state where she lives and where I spent many happy summers playing badminton, it was also a peace sign. Maybe a good symbol for a marriage, she wrote in her note. So we slapped the magnet on the back of the Escape, and there it weathered the daggers of ice storms, pummeling rains, the searing heat of our desert trips, and the daily ride in and out our mile-long rutted dirt road. Despite the substantial odds against it, that peace sign stuck like glue. A couple years ago, Erin came out to Oregon to visit. On her last day here, she rode into Portland with me in the early morning. I was taking a week-long yoga class held well before the crack of dawn. I love the city at this hour. Garbage trucks, charcoal skies, the streets stripped of any activities save the stirrings of homeless people and yoga students. At 5:30 a.m., we pulled into a spot at the corner of 11th and Alder, to where a bundled-up woman lay sleeping in a gray stack of blankets and coats. I think it was a woman. Her face was hidden, but a mane of black hair fanned from a pink collar jacket. As I dropped a few quarters in the styrofoam cup that perched near her, I saw the slight movement of her body taking a breath and felt a strange closeness. An hour later, we came out into the dawn, shiny and benevolent feeling from our class. As we approached the car, my mind took in two things. The homeless woman was gone, and so was the peace sign. All that was there was the silhouette left behind in the coating from our dusty road. This could mean only one thing. The woman had taken it. Oh my God, I say to Erin, grabbing her arm, I love this. Erin chuckled, and we stood on the corner for a moment in the rose light, sharing a meaningful look that said, this is perfect. We, cousins from opposite shores, have come together to give a sense of peace, away to this person who needs it so much. Wow! We drove away to the airport, all expansive in the early light. The next day I rose early and arrived at the same spot at the same time. The homeless woman was back on her stoop, slumbering with all her things around her, and I smiled as I walked by. I left more quarters in her cup and pictured the green peace sign tucked in safely amidst the dirty blankets, giving her some comfort. Coming out of class, I looked to her spot, and again she was gone, the stoop clean, cleared of all her belongings. She must have to vacate before people arrive for work, I thought. Then I glanced at the car and caught my breath. It was there. The peace sign was back in its place. Oh my God, I thought. She put it back. She had seen my car, spied the dusty silhouette, and this had triggered in her an awakening. A coming to terms, really almost a rebirth. On the sidewalk, I took it all in before climbing into the car and driving away. I was soon dialing my cousin, who is now back in Vermont. Erin, you won't believe this. She put it back. If people could share a meaningful look over the phone, we did. I drove the hour back home, soaking in the charming wonder of this act of contrition. I told a few people the story during the day. That night, John ate broccoli across from me as I regaled him with all the magical details. He sat quietly watching me, his chin in his hands, an open look in his eye. As I spoke, I was again so caught up in the miracle of it all, describing the moment of seeing the peace sign back on the car and the moment I put it all together. "Wow," he said when I was done. "That's amazing. That's really what happened." "Yes," I said, nodding my head in my certainty and confidence. "That's what happened. Pretty incredible, eh?" He smiled and cleared our dishes from the table. He started rinsing the plates, then turned the water off and came back. "I have to tell you something," he said. He sat down across from where I was flipping through the newspaper. "Yesterday morning after you guys left, I saw the peace sign had fallen off in the driveway. I picked it up and put it in my pocket. This morning, I stuck it back on your car before I took off." He paused. "I wasn't going to say anything, but something tells me I should." He went back to his dishes, and I sat in the breakfast nook, still a bit shaky and high from my level of engagement with this story. I listened to the clatter of plates and John's whistling as he washed them. I started to wonder about all the stories I have told. The way I once made the library security alarm go off using only my thoughts. How my Great Dane used to climb to the peak of the roof of our 3-story house and sit near the chimney until Mrs. Davis called to tell us he was up there. The handsome drunk businessman who totally picked my pocket after we had chatted in broken French at the finish line of the Tour de France. Had I made it all up? And if I had, did it really even matter? I found myself at once grateful for the truth and the kindness of the truth teller, and grateful for my own version of these events. John looked over at me with a grin. "I like your story, though," he said before he headed off to get ready for bed.